is Richard Pellegrino. I'm the director of the Cobb Immigrant Alliance and also a member of the Cobb United for Change Coalition.
So tell me about today's event. Why are we all here?
Well, this is just a press conference. It's sad that it's come to this, but we've come here really to call out Sheriff Warren and some of the other elected officials who we feel are, and have some proof and evidence, are selectively enforcing the law, choosing political targets, easy to hit targets, and especially with this Jessica Milano case. This is what broke the straw that broke the camel's back.
What exactly about the case do we think the sheriff is doing? Why do we think he's selectively choosing the people he's prosecuting and arresting?
Well, in the past, we've brought, and we have proof that we'll get out to during the press conferences, we've brought allegations and charges to his attention of people displaying false identity, okay? And he's refused to press charges, to prosecute. And in this case, Jessica, who's a 21-year-old college student, a threat to nobody, an asset to this country, after it comes out in the news that politicians are upset about her attending Kennesaw State, then he chooses to go and have a manhunt or a witch hunt to try to find her and charge her with lying, which is a baseless charge. We're assured by her and her attorneys, and we call on the district attorney to drop that charge.
But it sounds like, and I'm playing devil's advocate, it sounds like the sheriff here is enforcing the law. If he believes that his officers say that she gave a false statement, which she has not answered on camera, whether she did or not, then he's enforcing the law.
And again, our issue is enforcing the law selectively, picking and choosing who we're going to enforce the law with. We have a history, as others will indicate, of racial profiling and selective enforcement of the law based on color in the South, in this county, and so forth. That had been changing, but then the 287G agreement came into being, and Sheriff Warren was the first, in Georgia to execute that. Since that, there's many allegations of racial profiling and unequal application of the law. And that's all we're talking about.
So let's talk about D.A. King. Tell me about the allegations that the sheriff has selectively chosen not to charge D.A.
Sure. Not only D.A. King, but State Representative Matt Dollar, both have gone publicly, even right here in the county commission, and shown that they've manufactured false ID, okay, to show how easy it is to do it. I mean, that's their motive, they say. And actually went and got Mexican, to the Mexican embassy and got false ID with their pictures on it. There's a law that D.A. King and Matt Dollar helped pass that says you're not allowed to display, possess, have any type of false ID. So they're talking about the rule of law. Okay, this is what they say their motive is. Why are they breaking the law? And then when we go to the sheriff and explain they're breaking the law, why won't you charge them? That's our question.
Now, from what DA is telling us, there was an investigation, and it was the sheriff's people that dropped charges against him. So,
in fact, it was not the sheriff's people who dropped the charges. The sheriff's people prolonged the investigation over 2 months and refused to even get back to me. I had to hound them down, and eventually, to be completely honest, I dropped the charge because I said it's obvious that you do not want to prosecute your friend, and that's not my motive. My motive is not to hurt anybody, and that's why I sat on this. I didn't bring this out before until he went after, to me, an act of bullying with a badge, to go after a 21-year-old college student who's no threat to anyone. And the case about the mistaken identity or the address, I mean, it would have been easy to solve on his own rather than dispatch a manhunt.
What does your organization want done about these allegations?
Well, number one, we want the DA at least to stand up and be a man and not pander to the political fodder and drop the charges against Jessica because she's an innocent in all of this. Okay? Number two, we want law enforcement and elected officials to apply the law evenly. We have another case of Senator John Wiles right here in Cobb County at Christmas time, intervene at a party where the cops raided a bunch of high school youth and intervene and ask the police not to charge them when they were breaking the law. He stands on the rule of law. That's why he passes anti-immigrant legislation on the rule of law. So we're asking, let's sit down. If it's really about the rule of law, let's talk about that and see if there's an equal application of the law, number one. Number two, if you're not willing to sit down, we've asked Sheriff Warren for years to sit down with us, then let's have a federal civil rights investigation and find out why people are being pulled.
And your evidence was, I guess, the false making the IDs and getting into the house. Is that the evidence you have, or is there something else?
Right. That's those two incidents, Matt Dollar, NDA King, and the other one is John Wiles' story, where the police report says he asked the police not to charge these students because it would jeopardize their scholarship. Where's John Wiles asking them not to prosecute Jessica Collado? I mean, they were white students, wealthy students, so does the law only apply to the poor and the minorities in Cobb County? That's the question, and that's why the Cobb Coalition has come together, multiracial, multi-ethnic, because we want to see an equal application of the law. Another person who will arrive shortly. My name is Richard Pellegrino. I'm the director of the Cobb Immigrant Alliance, the CIA, and I'm also a member of, our organization is a member of the Cobb United for Change Coalition. I asked the coalition, the Cobb Coalition, to come today and to back up the Cobb Immigrant Alliance regarding this case, and I've invited the press here today to reveal information that points to the fact that Sheriff Neil Warren and other elected officials in Cobb County are selectively enforcing the law based on race, vulnerability, political expediency, especially with the case of Jessica Collado that all of you are familiar with. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, because why would a big man with a badge go after a 21-year-old college student who's a top performer, an asset to this country, an asset to this state? The questions are just too many. And then the question is also begged, why does he not charge people, friends of his supporters, with similar crimes who have false ID and publicly display that false ID? So those are some of the points we're raising. But really the big picture is about immigration and immigration reform. And that's what is needed here, to stop this nonsense, to stop these political witch hunts, to stop the political pandering, and to bring the community together. So on that note, I would like to introduce members of our coalition, Gerald Rose of New Order National Human Rights Organization, and Reverend Dwight Graves of the Cobb chapter of SCLC, who come together in solidarity to show that we're one community.
Address issues that's going on in the community. When I look at Jessica's case, I do see a young lady just trying to get her degree, but when you have roadblocks and search her like she's a killing suspect, I was very concerned about that. I had an opportunity to meet with the Chief of Police of Kennesaw yesterday. He did assure me that in the future that he would not stop no one because his skin is dark as mine. So we plan to have future rallies, future events that's going on in Cobb County, and we're just concerned on what's going on. And what's going on with Hispanics right now remind me of the old civil rights movement. We've been discriminating racial profile, which we still are doing that. At the same time now, we're going to join forces because numbers is powerful. And we're going to put Cobb County alert. I think this was a political stunt from Arizona to the state of Cobb County, and I think this was a very political move. We're just going to continue to move forward and work with the Latinos in the community. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just here to echo the voice of our great co-founder, Dr. King. And there are laws that are just and there are laws that are unjust. And also it is our duty and responsibility to speak up for anyone who we consider oppressed, amen, the downtrodden. The Bible tells us to do that. And we understand about the huddled masses and the legal issues. We're not here to try to circumvent the law. We want righteousness and justice to flow like waters and mighty streams. And that's what we're about. And we want everyone to look at this in the appropriate manner and not abuse any authority Growing up in a small town in West Virginia, I encountered police that would drag you out of the car and beat you up before they told you what was wrong. And I experienced that as a youth, and I know how that stuff can happen. So we're praying that the community come together and try to work these issues out fair and justly. Thank you.